Hey guys, we've got news on Global for April 7th, and this week to join me to discuss the news is Omega Weapon. So you can say hello, Omega.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Thanks for having me, Cesar.
Sure thing. So this week is another premium unit. This time it is Fina the Return. She is a holy support unit. So the step up is typical premium stuff. 60,000 for the pity. Shards are more expensive. They're more rare, etc., etc. Everybody knows how premiums go. At this point, it seems to be the same as all the others. So this unit, it's kind of like a mixed bag here. She's technically a good unit. Like she's certainly very strong and really good on holy teams. I just it's hard for me to recommend for people to chase this unit because I feel like she's not worth the price tag. It's that weird situation where the unit's good and I'd love to have her, but for 60k and beyond, it's really hard to say she's worth that kind of price. I don't know. What do you think, Omega? Like, are you familiar with her from the JP server?
I don't play the JP version, but after I knew she was coming out, I did um, look at her kit a bit, and yeah, I would agree with you. Based on the price and what she does, I mean, there's been a lot of premium units out. I mean, and even for someone who's like kind of a whale like me, it's hard chasing, Esther, then Dark Reign, then Roberta, and the other ones that are yet to be released. So, yeah, I would definitely agree with you that, um, she's a pass for me, and yeah, hard to recommend.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. Like she is like squeezed in right after a bunch of units that lots of people went for, and then there's a bunch more that are coming later that people are probably going to want to go for, and she's like right there in the middle with a 60k price tag and no shards. So I think
Yeah,
yeah, I'm probably going to be skipping her as well. But for those of you that don't know this unit, I'll give you like a brief rundown of her kit. So she is like the holy version of units like Leftia or Mermaid Frisia, stuff like that. She's a dedicated holy support, but she is overall better than those just because she does 400% stats, 300% LB damage, 45% holy amplify. She imbues the party. She cannot imperil, no imperil whatsoever, which is unfortunate. A 30% bow imperil, but the reason like she's premium is she also does a 30% holy field on top of that. So it's like really good slot compression. You get that field as well as all the usual stuff you're getting with like Leftia and all that. So like it's really good, and she's great for holy teams. She has some killers as well. I think human and demon killer and bird killer by memory. Some of those do require EX3 though, so keep that in mind. Or probably EX2 on the global server. I didn't actually look. Did they mention if it gets dropped to EX2 only for the good killers? I don't see that in the news. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, she doesn't really do any damage though, so she's like dedicated support. I mean, she's got some chaining frames, but like she doesn't deal damage. She's just dedicated support. Uh so so yeah, and I guess her STMR is decent for mages. 80 magic, 100 spirit, and some aqua and beast killer, which is nice. And then the TMR is kind of whatever. Uh,
yeah, the STMR does look pretty nice. To get killers on a hat is
mm.
pretty rare,
Oh, that is true. That
especially,
for mages.
yeah.
Very, very true. I do have this on the JP server. I have never used it for the races. It says like Beast and Aquatic Killer. I just haven't used that. But I have used it on the JP server for the Dark Resist. I actually did that on the Belphegor trial, I think. I used this on my tank. So it was nice there. Um, yep, pretty good. And then the Vision card at EX3 only, keep in mind. See, this is another problem here for me. Like, the Vision card is not super great. Like, the only thing interesting here is it autocast AoE re-raise on your party, which sounds like, oh, that's really cool, but it's really not because, like, that's almost never relevant in actual gameplay. The only time it would ever be relevant is, like, if you're a newer player for the arena, and you don't have a guaranteed win team set up for the arena. But most people on global, I feel like that are serious about the arena already have a guaranteed win team. Like no matter what, you're never ever going to lose and impossible to lose. So auto AoE re-raise isn't really going to do anything for those players. Like it'll never change anything for me in the arena. But I guess for a newer player, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, even if you come up against, 5 Kujas, as long as you get the HP where it needs to be, you don't need to worry about re-raise at all.
Yeah, I feel like we got into the point in the arena that there's now it's pretty easy to build a team that has literally nothing that can stop it, and I have not lost an arena batch in months, months.
Yeah, I don't see how you can really at this point.
And other than that, like it's got some resistance on it and some MP per turn. So like, this is not a. I guess it's a good tank card. It's got 100 defense and spirit and 1,000 HP on the card itself. So that's nice and all. So I guess it's a decent tank card. I don't know. I just feel like this card needs something more to be worth that EX3 price tag. For me, it's not, but it is pretty good for tanks. Now that I'm saying that it does have 100 defense and spirit and some HP, so it's a nice tank card. I guess we'll say that
Yeah,
about
I'm
it.
thinking it might be nice. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I'm thinking it could be nice for Chow if he needs those extra resists. But you have to what you'd have to spend and invest to get her to EX3 just for this card seems a little much to me.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole recurring story with Fina is like it's good, it's just too expensive. Like I don't think she should be a premium unit. I think she should just be a regular unit, and she'd be great at the normal price tag of like 45k pity with more available shards, and I'd even consider going for her. But yeah, and also don't ever feel bad about for you and also any future guests listening on like my news videos. Don't ever feel bad about interrupting me because I tend to like go on and ramble and kind of like not give my guest as much chance to talk. That's definitely my mistake. So definitely anytime you have something to say, go for it.
And that's okay. It's your show here. I'm just tagging along.
And another thing we're getting is the Furion EX abilities and crown upgrades. Now, I want to set the record straight real quick. I've seen some people immediately being like, wait, I heard Furion is really overpowered on the JP server. Are we getting him on global? Not specifically. So Furion had 2 upgrades on the JP server. The original upgrades, which is what this is, we're getting. And they made him better, but not great. Then he got a second set of upgrades during the Emperor event. That's the one that people talk about from the JP server where Furion is like doing the same damage as Knights of Grand Shout. That's a second wave of upgrades. This is not what we're getting on the global this week. So keep that in mind.
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
Global skipping EX abilities and unit upgrades. Oh.
Those upgrades aren't due yet. No. Just to be clear, those came those came with the Emperor event, which is like in the future. So that's going to be coming in like 3 months away. Now we may or may not get those upgrades because these upgrades don't really make Furion worth using. Like they're okay, they're decent. They bring him to like mid tier. But you're not going to spend 4 crowns to bring a unit to mid-tier. You're going to spend 4 crowns if they're going to bring a unit to top tier, which is what his second upgrades did accomplish. Now, I'm not sure. That's what makes me think Global might be delaying or passing on those, but we don't know that those aren't due for quite a while. His first wave of upgrades, like they're okay. They give him 1,000 attack power at EX3, and they upgrade. If you use crowns, it upgrades his LB. It gives him a lot of like weapon imperils, and it increases his LB to 250x modifier. The way they write it in the news, an extra 20. I don't know why they do. That's so confusing. It's 250x modifier after stacking with the crown upgrade. and it gives you a bunch of weapon imperils. But the biggest headache here is it doesn't give you a bow imperil in the base form. It does in the shift form, but trying to shift him and juggle both LBs just doesn't really work. So you have to like externally buff or imperil bows, which is probably why they're doing the upgrades this week, because the second Fuhryhenex upgrade basically requires Fina the Return on the party to put out those numbers, because she handles the bow and peril that he can't do for himself. He also doesn't have a good amplify. Fina handles all that. So, yeah, so I would recommend not jumping the gun and crowning Fuhryhenex immediately, unless Global like sneaks in the rest of the upgrades, which I seriously doubt, because they're not due for a long time. But in the
Just out of curiosity,
mm-hmm.
oh, I'm sorry. Just out of curiosity, is there any units you'd recommend at this time using crowns on, or have you used crowns on any units yet?
I
Or
have
have you
not.
saved yours like me?
I have not yet. I would have said that Rain is the probably one of the good ones if you're going for EX. I'm sorry, not EX. If you're going for high ranks and dark visions, then Rain has been frequently used on like rank 1 teams for quite a few months in a row now. Another really good option is Locke if you just happen to have missed all 3 of the other options. So if you don't have Laura, Venera, or Hawkeye, if you have none of them, then I would say Locke is absolutely worth crowning, because a 90% breaker is game-changing in Dark Visions. And if you don't have those 3 limited time, no longer available options, Locke is a great option for crowns. But if you do have one of those other 3, then don't do Locke, because he's kind of redundant at that point.
Yeah, I have 2 of those. I was just, wondering overall what your thoughts on that were.
Yeah, and I would have recommended crowning Arden or Noctis, because their crowns, at this current point in time, would make them meta relevant. They would do the same damage as like Esther and all, which is really relevant. But Global skipped them, and I'm going to just assume here that when they finally do come to Global, it's going to be after they're no longer relevant. That is something Global loves to do, is delay upgrades until they're no longer relevant. Then they get released, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Same thing as like Medina. Like Medina is how late at this point? She would have been good. She would have been good if she came on time, but not so much anymore.
We're still missing OG Titus too, aren't we?
Oh, the 7-star upgrades for Titus. We are.
Yeah.
Those I think are just never coming. I think Global has just absolutely shut the door on 7-star upgrades. That they seem to be never ever coming. So I would love if we got them. Oh, I know. I'd love if we got them, but unlikely.
I was kind of looking forward to using some old 7-stars in relevant content. But
definitely, yeah, they're fun to use.
Yeah, I guess we're out of luck with those though.
And then the last thing for the week, well, there's also the third chapter of the cutscenes for the return story. I didn't show that news, but the third chapter is coming out this week as well. But also World of Visions, or Vision World, and they're doing it again. They are making us wait an entire week for the actual serious bosses. So we're gonna have basically a week of nothing to do. It's unfortunate. So we're gonna have the 4 day 1 bosses that are literally turn 1 OTK perfect scores, and then we're gonna have an entire week until we get the real bosses. So there's nothing to do this week. Again, another completely dead week. Nothing to spend energy on. You can farm these, but yeah.
Yeah, that can get tedious.
Mm-hmm. And this is a Vision World, so it is a farming event. So, and of course, again, 50,000 for rank 1. We cannot share it. It's not going to be shared. So don't get excited. But here is the gear you can craft. So it's a accessory that gives 25 to all killers. It's basically the upgrade of Grand Star. Well, not the upgrade of. It's a better version of Grand Star. A better version of a ribbon. It's a status immunity and stop immunity. A bad bow no one's going to use. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
An upgrade of the eye patch, which it gives like some killers off. So I guess you might use this. This is actually not terrible.
But you know what the numbers are on those killers?
I think it's 50% from the JP server. I don't remember. I think it's 50 though, but I could be wrong. I
Okay,
think.
just curious.
Yeah, so that actually is pretty good for the killer. Um,
Yeah, I always look for killers on stuff. I always keep an eye out.
and this one's actually pretty good. A two-handed katana with 50 demon killer. If you're fighting a demon, that's decent. Yeah. This gear is actually overall pretty good. Just the bow, and the bow is like technically it's a good bow. It's just no one uses two-handed spirit bows. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is oh yeah, that's right. This is a 60 attack power, like Tifa's gloves. Basically, it's a double hand materia, a double hand accessory, or technically a true dual wield accessory. But no one does true dual wield anymore. And that's pretty much the news. So, I mean, the Vision World. I would talk more about it, but like the first week is just trivial stuff. And then I guess we can talk a little bit about the second week. So based on the JP server, the second week, there's 3 final bosses. The first one is a giveaway. It's free. The second to last final boss is a magical fight, weak to darkness and thunder. It's a machine by memory, either a machine or a dragon. I think it's like the wicked weapon in Vision World. So what was that again? Oh, that was like demon and machine, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's demon and machine. Yeah, demon and machine, weak to dark and thunder mages. And this one has, from the JP server, if I remember correctly, it has like a massively lopsided stat distribution, which means you really can't use physical units. Like I know last month, like a bunch of us brought like physical units to Dark Alexander and just said, haha, mages. That's not really an option for this one because it has something like 4 million defense and like 100,000 spirit. You have to use mages.
Yeah, I guess I wish I had my Ibarra at EX3 for this.
Oh yeah, Ibarra's a good choice. Olivera, Dark Rain, obviously.
You have
Angela.
EX2 Dark Rain.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Like this boss is not super hard to cap. You just need some good options. Like if you have Dark Rain, you're fine. What's that other? Roberta. Roberta is actually a really good mage, truthfully, because you can imbue her and all. So yeah, so there's a bunch of options for that. And then the final boss is Dark Rain himself. He's a demon human, and he's on the JP server. He was weak to light only weak to light element. Global sometimes changes up the final boss's resistances, so we don't know for sure until it comes out. They may or may not. We'll have to see.
Well, that's a good possibility with them releasing Fina the Return
Oh
to
yeah,
coincide with this.
oh yeah. She is definitely made for that fight because she does all the holy support. She also has human and demon killer for the party. Like she is custom made for that Dark Visions.
As expected.
And that one cannot be capped, so there will be no rank sharing. So, yeah.
Well, I gave up on shooting for like the absolute best rank a little while ago. I still try to get as good a score as I can with what I have, but trying over and over again for variants just got me way too frustrated. So I'll give it 2 or 3 tries, and what I can do, and I'll be satisfied with the score I get.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much the same thing. I really enjoy the team building and the trial and error and trying the fights out, and then I'll go back and I'll try a new team, and that's for me is fun. But once it gets to the point of rerunning just the same fight over and over and over, trying for a high variance roll, at that point, I lose interest really quickly.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yep, so sounds like neither me nor you are going to be pulling for Fina next week.
Nope.
So for any of you that are pulling for her, I'm pretty sure she's going to be a really big deal for this specific Dark Vision. So if you're one of those, top 100 players, you really fight for those top ranks, she's probably going to be a big deal. For everyone else, I'd say she's probably a safe skip, save for like a Clash of Wills unit or something a little bit more valuable later, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I'm definitely saving up for my girl Renoa because I'm an FF8 fanboy. So
oh yeah,
everybody in the comments can hate me for that.
well she is due to come pretty soon, so definitely save up. But all
Yeah.
right, thanks for joining me, Omega. That's pretty much it for the week.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure joining you.
All right, so I will see you guys on Thursday for the super easy Vision of World bosses.
Goodbye, everyone.